Today is the day where Grok 4.5 was launched, and it is all the rage on X and all across the internet because the race for AGI, the race for the best frontier model, the race for the best AI is on. And people so far were looking at Anthropic, they were looking at Claude, Fable of course, and they're very excited about the ChatGPT Sol release, which is happening also today or around today or tomorrow, no one knows exactly. And that is pretty exciting because now we have a total surprise. We have Grok 4.5 coming in and it looks tremendous. It is absolutely benchmarking, everyone out of the game. And we will look today into what that means. First of all, we look at the technology and we look at the achievements. We look why this is happening and what the secret is of Grok, why it's so powerful, and how it's beating its competition mainly on price. So when you look at this, you have Fable 5, of course, still ahead, but only a tiny percent here for Terminal Bench 2.1. We have here Deep SWE, 66 versus 62. And you have to understand, Fable is the magic Fable thing. And we have SWE Bench Pro, 80% versus 64%. You think, well, that's not that great. You have to understand, Fable is considered to be out of this world, like a new thing that is the total game changer. Opus 4.8, look at that. Nearly on par, totally beating it. Here, it's a little bit ahead here. And here, totally beating it. ChatGPT 5.5, also a very serious model, getting beaten here, okay, getting beaten here, and totally on par here. There you see it, why this is so powerful. And of course, you have to also compare this to Composer 2.5, which is the Cursor model. Cursor is the partner in this. Cursor was acquired by SpaceX. Cursor is Grok now. And you see for Composer 2.5, for the actual Cursor team, this is a tremendous leap forward. So what does that all mean? What is very important when you look at other benchmarks? Look at this. Absolutely rivaling Fable 5 extra high and beating Fable 5 high. Let that sink in. And the most important piece of that, I will point out in a second, but look at this. Cost per task. The cost you pay for this whole performance, and this is about coding, right? These are about using these agentic models for coding, which is the most important application. $1.50 compared to $11. So it's nearly, 8 times cheaper. 8 times cheaper. Let that sink in. Even Fable Medium, much cheaper. Even Opus 5 4.8 Max, much cheaper than that. So this is most importantly an efficiency and price revolution. And this chart here that I shared is also showing you that. Okay, the average cost per task is on that line, $20 very expensive on the left, and to the right $0, $1.51. And then here Cursor Bench, this is just a benchmark how smart these models are, how powerful. And what you see is Grok 4.5 high delivers the performance of Fable 5 high, but at $1.50 instead of $11 price. And this is exactly pushing the frontier. This is the equilibrium, the frontier, whatever. People use different names for that. But you have that frontier here, right? The trade-off between making it cheap or making it powerful. And Grok just break through that equilibrium, broke through the efficient frontier of AI and changed the game. As long as you are on this curve, you're nothing special. You're just a little dumber, a little cheaper, a little smarter, a little more expensive. But if you're cheaper and smarter, things are starting to change. Why is this so important? Of course, we have criticism here, for example, someone saying, look, Claude Opus 4.7 is much smarter. It built this lava lamp and Grok did build this lava lamp, so it's dumber. I mean, sure. And I don't want to be a total fanboy here. We have to watch the comparisons. There's always people pushing back. Benchmarks are just one thing. Real performance in real life like this is another thing. But I've seen other examples where Grok outperformed Claude Opus. So, we have to look. I think in reality, these intelligences, these AIs are skewed in one direction or another. Sometimes one is better, sometimes the other. But the benchmarks tell you something. Hey, on this channel, we do something very important. We deeply analyze, understand, and predict capital, AGI, and politics. Not just to beat the markets and make a lot of money, even though that's important, but also to build a new society and make the future good for all of us, the pioneers. If you want to help me on this journey, you can do that by doing a very simple thing. Like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. Thank you so much for your support, and let's get back to the video. Here we have another BridgeMind, for example, posting this. 1 day of heavy Grok 4.5 usage. It's all about efficiency, as I just told you. So BridgeMind used Grok 4.5 the whole day and used 1% of the allowance. 1 day of heavy Fable 5 usage, 100% of your weekly limit. So the whole week budget is gone. 1% versus 100%. Fable is much more expensive. And he says, I've been hammering 4.5 inside Grok build all day on a Super Grok subscription. Weekly meter says 1%. At this pace, I could build every single day all week on one subscription, a concept Anthropic has apparently never considered. Well, it's not about consideration, it's about what you can do. So here's also the official release video of SpaceX. Engineering tasks, high-speed performance, low cost, very important. Build a weather app. Boom, here is your weather app. The ultimate vibe coding superpower is coming. Build a site for books, dashboard from our latest thing, 3D city. It can build all these things on a single prompt in a flow simulation. As you can see, by the way, this model is also optimized for engineering because I always said it, one of the main purposes of this frontier intelligence for Elon and the team is to actually power the engineering prowess and increase it internally. So Grok is not just for you and me, it's also for the SpaceX team, for the Tesla team to actually improve the engineering speed. So I would guess that the engineering power is especially high. And all of this, of course, is only possible because SpaceX bought Cursor. This is all a Cursor thing. By the way, here, of course, NVIDIA also explains that Grok 4.5 was trained on NVIDIA Blackwell 300, the latest systems of NVIDIA, built for coding, agentic tasks, and so on. Elon's teams are very good in building these custom things, and this is pretty powerful. So what does it all mean for us? The race is on. We just had Fable released. We just had Fable come back and be available for people. This week, we have Grok 4.5, which is a giant leap for the SpaceX team, at least. And we have ChatGPT Sol and Luna and the third one, Earth, Terra, whatever, coming out, which people really anticipate. And what that tells me is that the race for AGI is full on. And people are underestimating what's going on here. Because these three juggernauts, SpaceX AI, Anthropic, and OpenAI, they are racing towards digital humans. They're racing towards replacing all human labor in enterprise. When you look at the SpaceX presentation, it shows you they believe it's a $22 trillion market to replace all humans, white-collar workers, not robots. And that is exactly what OpenAI thinks, and that's exactly what Anthropic thinks. And the AI power they're developing here, the coding power at the center of everything. Medicine is coding, legal is coding, everything is coding, because coding means you can systematize something effectively, anything. And so coding is the key to solve all labor challenges. And the speed and the money and the power that is coming in here, that is what we have to connect in our minds. These are the dots we have to connect to predict the future, and these are the dots we need to predict. I had another video on Max 7 valuations, on Tesla valuations. This is the underlying trajectory you have to understand if you want to understand the future. And that underlying trajectory is vastly exponential, and that underlying trajectory is already very powerful on a high base and is going exponential, which means the world we live in December will be fundamentally different from the world we live in today. And the world we live in, end of 2027, will be probably so different that it's hard to imagine. We are right now on an exponential trajectory. There is absolutely no evidence or hint that we are slowing down. These models become better and better. The agentic systems become better and better. And that means you better be prepared. And if you invest in stocks, if you predict the economy, if you have a job, you better understand that trajectory, because you can look ahead and see what's happening. It will be a very different world, and my prediction is by the end of next year, we will see the capability of AI to replace nearly all human jobs that are non-physical. And that is a very big deal. And that allows us to place very strategic bets. So there you have it. I hope that was interesting. I hope you enjoy Grok 4.5 or ChatGPT Soul or Anthropic, Claude, Fable, whatever it is. Play around with these models. Go to pioneerlens.org, by the way, because that's where we are building something amazing and you can actually use all these models. So let's see what happens. I hope that was interesting and see you tomorrow.